Do you know someone who is constantly talking about how busy they are? They're under the pump,
I do.
slammed, wrecked, having too much to do and can't possibly fit it all in.
Well, thanks to social media, we often see people bragging about how hectic, how busy their lives are. Hashtag too busy. But is all this busy bragging having a negative effect on the way we interact and connect with other people? Could it actually be ruining real-life relationships? To help us out with this is Studio 10 psychologist Joe Lamble and communications expert Danielle Di-Masi. They've taken time out of their very busy schedules.
I'm way too busy. I think we might have to wrap it up. Yeah, we need to go.
Joe, is this a new thing, and why do we see it happening so much on social media?
Well, I definitely don't think it's a new thing. I think it's been around for eons, and now on social media you've got this new, forum in which to share how busy you are. But I think there are lots of reasons why people do it. Some people, it's just a personality type, particularly the narcissists, and they're the ones who'll say, "Oh, I've got to get ready because I've got to go to New York for work next week. I've got a photo shoot coming up." Also a lack of confidence. Remember, truly confident people are very quietly confident. They're not shouting from the rooftops. Validation, they really need people to say, "Wow, how can you do it all? This is incredible." And a cry for help. There are some people who are genuinely overwhelmed with everything they've got on, so it's just oozing out of them.
So is it just a front then for the fact that they actually do have self-confidence issues?
Yeah, I think generally put, that would be the short answer, yes. And so they really do need to justify their existence, and also it's very contagious, isn't it? It's very hard sometimes to shove it back in your mouth. How are you? Really good. How are you? Because you don't want to say it.
Danielle, obviously you spend a lot of time studying social media and how people interact. You're all often seeing this in all forms of social interaction, but you think it could actually be affecting how people relate to each other outside of social media?
Oh, absolutely. Social media, like Joe said, it's nothing new. And actually, Mae West had a quote, obviously before Facebook came around, that said, "Keep a diary and it'll start to keep you." And I think the same way about Facebook and updating statuses and so forth, because we're starting to think in a way like, "Oh, this is happening and I'm experiencing this, or I've got to take a photo of it and then put a filter on it and post it on Facebook, and everyone needs to know where I am." And it's gone very insular. So we're more concentrating on ourselves, talking about ourselves. And the problem with social media is we've seen a rise in using I. Everything's I, where before it was lots of we, or how can we do this and so forth. So we're going on there and we're just doing this like two-dimensional chat out to say, this is what's happening with me, that's it. And like Joe's saying, we are looking for that feedback. And it's a really interesting study that they did where they looked at people's status updates, how many times that they were saying, "I'm so busy," and they compared it to their diaries, which actually showed that they weren't at all. And when they did this study, there was a leading international study, they sat down and said, "This is all your spare hours that you had." They went, "It's not true. I'm way too busy to have had an extra 40 hours in my week."
Surely we're more busy than we used to be, though, especially because we're contactable 24/7 thanks to modern technology.
I was only saying the other day that, I said to a friend, "Remember when we were teenagers and we had heaps of times and we used to get bored?" But I look at teenagers now and they're like constantly got access to their friends, photos, videos. Like back in the day, if I wanted to watch a TV show, I had to watch it when TV said I could.
Yes.
And now they can do it anytime. So they're super busy. So I'm curious at what they're going to be like at 32.
But Danielle, I think they're still bored. I think they're flicking through their Facebook and they're really bored. They'd be better off doing something else. But coming back to that point about confidence, as you say, when people post that, look at me, this is what I'm doing.
Eye disease.
Then the other person, as I said, all their followers watch it and say, "Oh gosh, I'm feeling inadequate compared to that." So their lack of confidence fuels it, and then posting all these images then fuels their lack of confidence even more. And there's this who's worse off game, who's busiest, this competition.
And it's across the board. If it's food, exercise, whatever people are posting photos, it's kind of like the new keeping up with the Joneses. But it's really alienating people, and it's creating this really vicious cycle.
And Joe, it's also an interesting dynamic with relationships, modern relationships today. Tell us about that.
I would say this is a major issue in relationships. This resentment that they are feeling towards each other because they're playing this game, who's worse off. So when they get together at the end of the day, it says, "Oh, how was your day? Oh, gosh, you can't believe what I've had to do." And the other one's saying, "Oh, tell me about it. You think that's a lot. What about me?" And so there's no support. And as I said, if they need to cry for help, they're feeling overwhelmed, they need to prioritise and delegate. And also, I've got this motto that if you're feeling you're too busy, add something else in. Just make sure it's something relaxing or fun.
Extracurricular.
Yeah, that's right. And then you'll often feel less stressed.
Don't people usually say you thought you were busy, then you had kids, then you're busy?
Oh, that's a whole different stress.
I think people are just adding so much noise out there. My biggest strategy to people is before you post anything, go, what's the purpose of this? And is there any purpose, or is it going to change anything? And if you can't answer that, just save the draft and just come back to it, because it is, as much as people fight it, this is what's going on in our society. We are addicted to it. It is changing our brains. You know, people are going into rehab because they take too many selfies and they've lost their jobs. Seriously, a guy tried to commit suicide because he couldn't get the perfect selfie, and he went into rehab, and they're actually seeing it. Oh, so I'm sorry, this is your job. Yeah. Oh, no, you're too busy. You're too busy to explain mental health. You're too busy, Joe.
You know,
yeah, but our society's changed, and we need to recognise where we're at, and this is where we're at.
Yeah.
It's
We're too busy, we've got to go.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Here's a tip, just get off social media for a week. Just try it. Just try it for a week.
It is liberating. Still
See
to
what
come
happens.
this morning.